under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we record the roll, may I have a motion to excuse Commissioner Corcoran from this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, seconded by Commissioner Semo to excuse Commissioner Corcoran from today's meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Recording of the roll.
All present except for Commissioner Corcoran, who has an excused absence.
Item C, approval of the consent agenda.
I have one change, Madam Mayor. On the approval of the minutes, one change was made before on your desk. The corrections are from, I believe it's M to Q. The second motion, the support was made by Brandon Power, not Commissioner Corcoran. So that was changed accordingly.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the changes as mentioned.
Support.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, seconded by Commissioner Mildren to approve the consent agenda as presented with amendments to the minutes. Roll call vote, please.
Mildren?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Burchell?
Yes. Motion carries. Item D, approval of the agenda. Do you want?
Right, I don't know if you had that, Madam Mayor, on your list, but we were asking to remove item O, going into closed session for the union negotiation discussion, and item P. We propose to bring that at the next meeting when the city attorney is available.
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Tower to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor? Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E, citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda, a 3-minute limit per person. And please come up to the podium. And the microphone is sensitive, not sensitive, I should say. So please remove the mic from the stand and have it be close to your mouth if possible, so we can hear you. And the people watching can hear your voice. So remove the mic, please. Name and address as well, please.
Paul Costello, 347 West Ash Street. I rise to speak about the smoking policy. At the Parks and Recs Committee back in January, we voted on a policy proposal to ban smoking in the parks, and it resulted in a tie vote. As someone involved in planning for the Myers Park, I did a Google search for bar smoking, to see what other parks were doing, specifically to see what kinds of things they were addressing. So on that chart, on the left-hand side, I looked at the Michigan smoke-free law, Michigan DNR. I didn't find anything about parks or smoking at all during my search. Pure Michigan has a policy paper on their site talking about it. They encourage smoke-free parks and smoke-free beaches in that policy. The other parks I looked at were the first parks that came across on Google. They broke down into 2 categories: those with designated restrictions on smoking based on distance from a building to other people, and then other parks base their smoking policy on exceptions. For exceptions, you look across the top. Smoking allowed. They had exceptions for sidewalks, designated areas, vehicles. They had different. Each one had something different. None of them have all those categories. Under products allowed, we can also address some other things besides just tobacco smoking, e-cigarettes, chewing tobacco, and marijuana. On the enforcement side, enforcement is basically voluntary. Enforcement by community standards. A couple of them did have fines or warnings, and basically on the fines and warnings, you had to say, no, we're not going to quit smoking to an officer in order to get those fines. So if someone's causing trouble, so they phone call, comes in, and the person refuses, and they got fined. Then the last column I don't talk about was the health impact statement. And what was the purpose of their law, their policy? Most of them were because the state required it, the federal government required it, the city required it. Only a few of them actually had a health impact statement. One of those health impact statements referenced outdoor effects, a smoking study at a distance of 3 feet. So going on to the second page, I went on the city's website, took a look at their marks that are listed on there, described it as the city did, and I described it in a couple different categories. Neighborhood, individual parks and walk tour serve a neighborhood, dedicated sports parks, self-defined parks, community parks that attract residents and travelers to various programs and recreation. I took a look at parking lots, playground equipment. And here's one way, if you look at neighborhood parks and sport parks, one way of looking at the policy and make those community parks, you might want to put in exceptions like parking lots and designated areas. So that's just one way of looking at it. And then just to sum it up, 17% of the population still smokes, according to the CDC, as in their December 8th posting. I look at the city comp plan, the goals. They want Ironwood to become a great destination. 83% of people would definitely say it's a great destination. Smoke free. Also says a thriving economy. We have 17% of people that if they want an extended time in the park, in effect, it's smoking laws. Taking those to become a friendly community, definitely need to make sure we have some clear policies on smoking and that they're visible. Just signs so that visitors to our area can see what's happening. And lastly, my understanding is that since Parks and Recs has already seen this, it may or may not come back to Parks and Recs. But in any future discussions or collaborative sort of community, I'd like to be involved as a representative of the Friends of the Miners Park and also include other people that program parks, possibly Festival Fire. They might have some ideas on this stuff. So that's what I've got.
Thank you.
Right in the buzzer.
Okay, I have a couple of questions pertaining to smoking. How many complaints have people seen from the police department? Already got probably how many complaints have been filed? That's the first one. And who's going to enforce this? If public safety has to, that's going to tell me we have too many public safety officers, so let's start naming them off and we'll have some money. Otherwise, they're having a hard time now, and if you take an interest, you sit up there and represent us, take an interest in what goes on. They can't keep up with the drug problem, much less run around at their salary, chasing butts. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to me. Maybe you should have the city of Ironwood, and maybe the people who vote for this policy, maybe the people who should pool their salary and have management volunteer the time or buy them dinners or whatever you choose, but it shouldn't come out of the public funds because we don't have any money allegedly. I guess if you're going to do this, and I don't care one way or another, but if you're going to do it, we do it down the board. Either yes, there's smoking in our parks, or no, there's no smoking in our parks. Because what you're going to do is open up a can of worms. You've got some places where there's ball fields that are drinking. I have no problem calling the local control commission. That's public. It's my park. I pay taxes on it. I don't worry. How much do I have to have down there? I gotta pay taxes down there too. So I guess you don't want to go there and start involving a lot of people. Should you maybe put up an area something and say, if you want to smoke, you can smoke. I mean, I was in the middle, I was honest. I went a month and a half, I came home on the weekends to get my stuff prepared, didn't touch the cigarette, didn't bother me. When I was free and clear to come home, I went back to smoking. But there again, I didn't say, well, you can't smoke there, but you can smoke there, you can't smoke there, but you can. Have a hell of a lot more to do than worry about smoking. I don't know how many things there are, and I guess this is what I would do. I would tell to Georgia, these kids down there or adults, whichever they are, and wherever these problems arise, you don't have to, you can't treat these people like they're idiots and you're talking to them, or that they're AHs, or dirtbags, or whatever you want to call them. You talk to them like a human being and say, this is the scenario. You want to smoke down here? We're fine. There's an ashtray there. This is only going to go around once or twice before the city's going to do something. Before we start making policies and making ordinances, let's take a look at how many complaints you got. If you don't have complaints, you can't say it's because of the kids, because if you go to any ball field, parents are doing kids. Whether they're 6 months old or 3 years old. When they're 15, you can say stay home. But you got to take a look at this whole scenario. You can't just come out and say, well, we usually could smoke like your business, but roosters, I'm not sure. I don't care if you eat too much. You can't smoke there. But socks, you can smoke over there because we like you. It makes no sense. You're here to represent everybody. And if you're not, then you're not right now. I mean, right now, you can't do it. No matter how aggravated they are. You gotta wait 6 or 7 months before you can form a report or force the city into bankruptcy. And then the choice of the people, not mine. And I think it's empathetically because you're getting started on some track here. But this town isn't owned, and I appreciate what he said, by minors on the park. They don't want any smoking in the park that they have rule. That's their ordinance. They could even have a board there. They want to down in their area. What do you do?
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda? Yes?
My name is Keith Johnson, at 119 East Michigan Avenue. I stand here as the co-director, co-manager of Festival Ironwood. This is the third time I've stood before a city commission to talk about the tobacco ordinance. Third time. I haven't seen what's proposed, what's being proposed. This is my third time I've been here. If we're trying to protect the kids, trying to protect where they're playing, I have no problem with that. We can restrict it, I understand that. If we're looking at the park citywide, then you better take a long, strong, hard look at that. We've got a baseball field that play baseball 3 nights a week. You've got smoking up there. You've got alcohol up there. On a festival night, we try, we're restricted, we can't allow people to smoke inside the tents. So they're smoking outside. Some nights, Friday night, there's 12 to 1,500 people. Saturday night, there's over 2,000. You think that I'm going to take the time, or the people working down security are going to take time to go around and call public safety and get them down and enforce it? It's not going to happen. You've got a lot of ordinances and restrictions and rules in the books right now that are not being enforced. Let's focus on that. Let's talk about, where people are letting their dogs defecate right now. We've got the beautiful green park downtown, not even a pocket park, but the green space in between the buildings. I've been over many times, there's people using it as a human dump site for their dogs. I haven't seen any tickets in the paper where everybody's been receiving tickets for that. So let's take a look and see the ordinance that we've got in the books right now. Let's look at enforcement there. And, again, if you want to restrict it for around the playground equipment with the kids, I support that. Not on the city park, not on the city park, ordinance like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
Good evening, thank you, Ray Johnson, from Ironwood, Michigan. The post-smoking bans of 2010 primarily deal with secondhand smoke from tobacco because of the effects it has on the human body causing cancer. Federal government, our state government, with their wisdom, enacted legislation to,
in public buildings
which are
considered
confined spaces
where individuals
where individuals cannot move away from someone who is smoking, that the smoking stays in the area or facility or building they're in. Same thing with public transportation. The law was expanded a number of times to include some bars and restaurants, so that no smoking is allowed in those places. Because again, they are confined spaces. So Michigan law and federal law all deal with confined spaces.
we have a population.
We have a population of about 6,000 people, and we have numerous parks,
Small parks, bigger parks.
small parks, bigger parks.
One park is 100 feet.
One park is 184 acres, I believe.
There are all.
They are all in open space.
I haven't looked very hard.
I haven't looked very hard, but I don't think there's any statute
For
for
not allowing
smoking in open spaces.
I think that's the first thing.
I think that's the first thing this commission should research
Is there a law
is there a law
that
that you can prohibit smoking in open air spaces?
Probably not going to find it. I think
Probably not going to find it. I think that's going to be the simple answer
for you.
for you folks.
I really don't know.
I really don't know why
They're trying to.
we are trying to ban smoking in all the parks. Some inferences were that to protect our children. Well,
I don't think
that's
that's probably.
the proper way to do
I
that.
don't think.
I don't think legally.
So I think we should have.
So I think we should look at it very closely to see what the considerations and statutory. Probably ask your attorneys that can do this. If that's the case, if he said, go, let it drop. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to address the commission on items on the agenda? Moving on to item F, citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda. Yes?
Alder Bostic, 1221 East Leonard. That's all you got to worry about, whether it's smoking or not in parks. This is a great city to live in. That's the biggest story that we have. When all the lowlifes are on here that are built, and the way our police department is busting these lowlifes, they're doing a terrific job. They're doing a beautiful job, and they need to be appreciated. That's the first thing. And with the old commissioners here, Rick Seymour, Commissioner Collin, and Brandon Collar, they know my complaint about the 1,000 block of Florence Street, which is on the north side of the theater, and you know I complained about the 1,000 block of Celia Street. These streets were not done right. I just heard excuses from Scott Erickson, excuse. Nobody took responsibility. Now go down those streets. Go down the streets right now. Florence Street, north side of the theater. There's a half a dozen sawhorses there. Those never. And then you lived in that neighborhood how many years? All your life. You've never seen sawhorses on that north side of that street. Celia Street, the 1,000 block. Mr. Mildren, I gave you a call. I don't know if you called somebody or not, but that foot of water that was on that road, that water was never there. Until this faulty engineering firm, Coleman Engineering, engineered that firm, and Scott Erickson backed them up and said, okay, Coleman Engineering should not get another single cent until these streets are fixed. These streets have to be fixed. Florence Street has to be straightened out from that street to that Clark Street ditch. That has to be done. Coleman Engineering should pay for that. And Celia Street should be fixed too. That culvert, they're trying to make water run uphill. There never was water setting that settled like that on Celia Street. It's disgusting. Those culverts have to be dropped on Celia Street. The culverts is higher in the road. It's like a junk. Then you come to a big dip and bam, there's a foot of water there. I mean, who's gonna pay for that?
Has to be fixed.
That street has to be fixed. Your people have to, Scott Erickson doesn't admit that there's a problem there. He does not admit that there's a problem. I'll be surprised. I hope I'm wrong, that he admits that there's a problem.
There is not.
There is not.
I hope I'm wrong.
I hope I'm wrong.
You
You people got to get these things fixed.
done wrong.
These streets are done wrong,
Need to be fixed.
and they need to be fixed.
40-year loan.
This is a 40-year loan that we're paying on. It's not a park or a trail.
This is
It's not a park or a trail. This is a 40-year loan that we're paying on for 40 years on our water bills.
That's a lot, that's a long time.
That's a long time, and that's a lot of money people have to pay for. And these streets better be fixed, and they better be fixed straight. And plus all the disasters that are up there in Norrie
It's
too.
a mess up there too.
It's a mess up there too.
And on the corner of.
And on the corner of Len and Zinner, on Moore Street, on the north side,
People's yards are all ripped
these
up.
people's yards are all ripped up. Because when Zinn Street goes down the hill, I complained about it. I don't know what I was talking about. Look at these people's yards when the plow went through. This has never happened. Never happened. Now their front yards are all ripped up. Because that street was dropped,
And there was no reason for it.
and there was no reason for it.
These streets better be fixed.
These streets better be fixed.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that was Scott Erickson was telling
And
me.
that was Scott Erickson would tell me what kind of excuse.
Why
Of why there's a problem. Why there was a foot of water
on Celia Street.
on Celia Street, which there never was. Why no sawhorses are there on Florence Street?
I've got anything to say about that.
Scott, you got anything to say about that?
I'll be glad to meet with you, Paul. I've not talked to you about this yet.
Right here tonight, so everybody can hear it.
Everybody can hear it.
I'll be happy to meet with you.
Excuse me, sir. Point order, please. We'll address those issues and get back to you on those, okay?
At a commission meeting.
Yes, at a commission meeting, not in nobody's office.
Okay.
So everybody can hear it.
Thank you.
It better not be excuses.
Any other citizens wishing to address the commission on items not on the agenda? Okay. Moving on to item G, presentation from our Community Development Director.
Thank you. As usual, I will read the mission statement, guiding principle, and go give you an overview of what's taking place in the month of February. Tracing the tales of our past, building new trails for our future. Nestled in the wilds of Michigan, big snow country, Ironwood is a year-round destination that attracts residents and visitors alike. World-class recreational opportunities, nutritional activities like skiing, biking, emerging innovative adventure sports, vibrant civic spaces and cultural institutions, thriving businesses, intriguing historical attractions, and a welcoming, safe, and collaborative atmosphere. Ironwood is a vibrant, unique, small town where people come to enjoy the quality of life. Let's translate as strength of will and courage in the face of adversity. The Danish word system encapsulates the spirit of Ironwood community. The ethos of system is evident in the stories of Ironwood's past. From its early days in the mining town to World War I, where Ironwood residents gave their lives in service to this country. The same resilient spirit continues to drive Ironwood today. As community members work together to preserve and promote the prosperity, heritage, and beauty of the Ironwood community, while forging new paths, uncovering new opportunities, and creating new stories for the future. And the guiding principle for this month is a connected, collaborative community, which is Ironwood is a community connected both within itself and its surrounding municipalities. The region and beyond. Ironwood benefits from strong community connections and technology infrastructure, as well as a culture of volunteership, mentorship, partnership, collaboration, and shared prosperity. So for the month of February, we have some general highlights of what took place related to the comprehensive plan. Planning Commission and Economic Development Corporation made recommendations on budgeting for zoning ordinance update, which is a project that's identified in the comprehensive plan, which we'll be discussing during the budgeting process. Planning Commission initiated a wayfinding master plan planning process, and staff has been working diligently on that plan. We've developed and published online article tracking managed plan survey that was published last month. Survey results closed in March, so we'll be looking at those results and continue with that planning process. Park and Rec recommended budgeting for a park capital improvement program, which again will be discussed during the budgeting process. We were able to sell the city spec building on a land contract in the industrial park, partnership between the city Ironwood Industrial Development Corporation. The EDC, the DIDA, and the Chamber have met to initiate a shop local hospitality campaign as a project from the capital plan. EDC has met with the Green Bay Community College regarding an April Business Speaker Series. So keep an eye out for that, but they do have a speaker from the Green Bay Packers coming in to talk to the business community through their annual Business Speaker Series. Staff continues to work with the branding consultants through that process. EDC is looking at touring existing business incubators to gather ideas on how to create one here and keep the one going that's kind of been started. So they're working on that project right now. They have plans to go visit some ones in the area. EDC is also researching local development program options to really try to expand on the regional program that we have currently, but also looking at ways to provide local options for our businesses to help with business ventures. There is also a retail target market analysis that's been initiated through the Regional Prosperity Initiative that Wupperter, the Western UP Planning Development Region, is working on. This is funding that was received through a grant from the state, which essentially will provide retail analysis of our area and what the area can sustain and support, which will help in our marketing and business advertising ventures. We also started developing a residential facade program for discussion and looking at kind of complementing our downtown facade program that we have. The DIDA has been meeting this last month, continue to meet to discuss downtown events as well as the events calendar. To kind of coordinate the area on what's going on, kind of a one-stop shop concept. And we are also continuing with the soccer. So that was the month of February. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Thank you, Michael. Moving on to old business. Item H, discuss and consider awarding a bid to Angelo Lupino, Inc. in the amount of $99,167 for the Ironwood Carnegie Library facade improvement project.
Thank you. The library has been working with the State Historic Preservation Office. They have received a grant. 60% of the value of the project is the grant amount. The library covers the rest, and they do have funds set aside for that. Essentially, it's for some exterior facade work on the building. It's tuck pointing the building. They have a couple large chimneys. They'll tuck point the chimneys and actually do some work on the chimneys. Do some work on the front door. They'll put a period front door back in. Right now, it's just a metal door that's in the front. And do some work to the retaining wall, and also on the front steps, the front railing will be replaced. So those are the elements of the project. They did receive 3 bids, so it was a very competitive bid. Angelo Lupino was the low bidder on the project, and we are recommending award of the bid to Angelo Lupino.
I'll make the motion to award the bid to Angelo Lupino in the amount of $99,167.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mildren, seconded by Commissioner Semo to award the bid for the Ironwood Carnegie Library facade improvement project to Angelo Lupino in the amount of $99,167. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Semo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Mildren?
Yes.
Bertram?
Yes. Motion carries. Item I, discuss and consider approving resolution number 016-006, Michigan Department of Natural Resources Recreation Passport Grant application for the Memorial Building gym renovation.
All right, thank you. As a reminder, before you last meetings, we talked about this grant application. As a reminder to the community, we're looking at renovating the Memorial Building gym. We're looking at replacing the existing floor. We're also looking at replacing the existing light fixtures with LED efficient light bulbs, fixing the paint and plaster issues that are down in the gym and the locker rooms and the shower area, as well as looking at some basic plumbing improvements to the shower area. This grant offers the opportunity for creating an indoor facility. This is the only grant that offers this, which is kind of unique with the other grants programs focus on outdoor recreation. And this grant specifically focuses on renovating existing structures. So So again, we're looking at renovating this structure that's in place for public use. Again, a number of groups and activities take place here for the, that use the gym. The grants is going to, the grant request will be $45,000 and the local match of $15,000 from the city, which is already been identified that's available for the current budget. For a total project cost of $60,000. And this resolution, essentially, if we approve tonight, will authorize the city to apply for the grants. And the grant is, the application is due on April 1st. Answer any questions you have?
I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution as described in item I.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Tower, to approve the resolution as described in item I. Further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Tower?
Yes.
Mildred?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Burchell?
Yes, motion carries. Item J, discuss and consider awarding the Depot Park Playground Equipment bid to Miracle Midwest in the amount of $37,000, option 6.
So this project is a recap. In 2014, the city of Ironwood applied for a natural resource trust fund grant from the DNR for a playground at Depot Park. The total grant request is a $50,000 project, so it's a $37,000 grant and a $37,500 grant and a $12,500 local match. The match is coming through $5,000 from the city, actually $3,000 from the city, $1,000 from Kiwanis, and $1,000 from the MPA. The remainder of the match will be done through forced labor through our DPW crews on the install and preparation of the site. The grant that we applied for focused on a playground at the Depot Park because in the original plans, there was a park that was identified. When the park was developed, the playground area had to be cut due to budgetary reasons. So then the city decided to go out for the grant to put in the playground. When we applied, we worked with the Parks and Rec and the City Commission on the type of park and playground equipment that we wanted to see there. The concept was we wanted to do something unique, something different, and something more natural than your typical playground equipment that you see, in other parks in the area. So with that being said, we looked at focusing on the natural type play elements, rocks, logs, ropes, things we're climbing on, and so forth. Last summer, as we were working with the Parks and Rec on developing kind of the criteria for this in the City Commission, we researched a company that provides this type of equipment, rocks, ropes, and logs, and climbing features. In July last summer, I introduced a video to the Parks and Rec Committee, a 3-minute video that went through, gave an illustration of what the concept was that we're looking for, what we're going after, which then helped develop the bid specifications, which were later approved by the DNR and then ultimately approved by the City Commission this past fall to go out to bid for this project. That being said, we received bids, open bids in January. Held a discussion with the Parks and Rec in February, and after staff had reviewed the bids, we felt like we could do a little bit better, get a little bit better bang for our buck on playground equipment. The way that we did the bid specification was called performance specification. So what we did is we identified in the bid specs what it was, the themes and the concepts and the kind of equipment we wanted, and we told the contractors and bidders, we said, this is how much money we have available to bid on. Give us the most play equipment value for what we have to pay for it. The amount of money that we had available to pay for the playground was $42,200. So that was kind of our max budget on equipment as well as the play surface, which we looked at here. Engineered wood fibers, which is a fancy word for wood chips, or poured-in-place rubber surface. The bids came in in January. We asked for 4 different options from the bidders. We felt we could do better, so we worked on preparing what's called a post-bid and actually went back to those bidders that bid originally and said, we'd like to see a couple more options. We're interested in seeing what else you can provide, see if we can get a little better play value. Up to the time with the original bids, we were a little concerned with that. Then once we got the postcode addendums in, we then reviewed them with Parks and Rec this in March at the meeting last week. So we had a total possible 6 different options for bidders. Not all bidders provided all the different options. Some provided all 6 different options. Some provided less. So then what the Parks and Rec did is they went through a process of looking at what was proposed, what was submitted, and basically decided on a recommendation, which is before you tonight. Parks and Rec had at least a half-an-hour discussion on this item. It wasn't a quick discussion. With a lot of things to look at, a lot of different options to review. And ultimately, the Parks and Rec decided to recommend Midwest option 6 in the amount of $37,000. Now, all the other bidders bid out the maximum for $42,200. American Midwest came in under it with multiple bids with different options, but the one that's been recommended is $37,000. A couple different things. When I talked with American Midwest, I said, why are you under the maximum bid amount? And they said, well, we ran out of room to provide more equipment based on the dimensions that we set for the playground area. Playground area was set at 30 by 60 feet. So they maxed out the play area based on what their product they could provide in that area, and for a lesser amount than the max budget. The other bidders maxed out our budget, but in Parks and Rec's opinion, and staff's opinion, didn't provide the same play value. Many of the other bidders had much smaller play areas. They shrunk the play area, they provided less play structures and options. And ultimately, those are some of the reasons that Parks and Rec made the decision they did with this. So they feel that we're going to get the best play value for the grants, and actually reduce cost compared to the other bidders. So they're bidding more in a larger space than the other bidders are, with less equipment and smaller space. And again, what that means too is we don't have to max out the grant. That just means there's a cost savings throughout the whole process, which is okay. And again, you don't have to make a selection based on price alone. Again, it's for the best play value that the city feels. And Parks and Rec feel that option 6 by American Midwest is the option that will give us that. So with that, I would answer any questions everybody.
Well, I would like to make the motion to award the Depot Park Playground to Miracle Midwest in the amount of $37,000 and say this is so wonderful and thank you so much for working on this, because it's an exciting thing to continue to make the Depot Park the jewel in our city. Wonderful.
Can you put that picture up on the screen there? Playground equipment.
If we could have second, and then we could discuss.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Discussion.
It doesn't really seem like there's a lot there. I mean,
That was my concern as well, quite
Yes.
honestly. But
Well, the space is limited because of the physical reality of how much room there is there. So this is 30 by 60, which isn't a real big space for a playground. And
so that the equipment that we're looking at, that is $37,000.
The equipment and the servicing, so the
Installation.
The installation the city will be doing.
Okay.
So that doesn't include any kind of installation cost. The installation will be more by the city through our public works.
And I know, this is a non-traditional park, and I've seen these parks in other cities that I've visited, and the younger kids especially love something like this. So it's a non-traditional park, and I just happen to like it.
And at the time when we were looking at it, and we were going after a grant and talking with Parks and Rec and the city about this concept, the idea was because of the historical nature and just the setting of Depot Park and kind of what it means, the thought was we didn't want to put a traditional looking playground structure there because it would kind of be out of context. So that was the idea behind the natural themed concept there. So that's what's been discussed in the last couple of years.
And then you plan to have wood chips on the ground? And then the note says curb is not included. Are you planning to secure the perimeter somehow?
Actually, Public Works, our parks maintenance, they don't like
A barrier?
because of, for maintenance purposes. What they found is, it actually causes a problem with their mowers when they get too close and they end up nicking and getting too close to the edges, with other, their machinery. So they actually prefer, no edging around it. It makes it easier for maintenance purposes.
There's a lot of empty space there. Do you think they could add
They
more
can.
to it?
So one of the things that, again, it's safety regulations. There are certain fall zone requirements. So for every foot you have a piece of equipment off the ground, you have to have so many horizontal feet of space around you. So the larger pieces here, these larger climbing pieces, they're much taller, so they require a much larger zone, a safety zone for fall zone. So that's what it comes down to. So again, when Parks and Rec reviewed the other proposals, they were much smaller in size as far as square footage wise, but they also provide less equipment. Again, they went through that, Rick was there for that conversation, so I guess if you want to comment on that.
Well, I think that one thing that we noticed as we went through the various proposals was the similarity of how much equipment there really ended up being. And it took a while for us to all get used to that. Where's more? But it turns out that, as Michael explained, with the regulations about safety and fall zones, that's about what you can fit in that space.
And the idea too is, we were cognizant of one of the other uses at the park. So we specifically have the 60 and 30. It fits into a nice little nook. It's going to go just east of the pavilion, the concrete pad, south of the walking path, and then there's a first tree that kind of sets the limit on the other end of it, while still staying out of the main green space in the center of the park. Obviously, we're cognizant of Festival Ironwood and other events that can take place there. We didn't want to encroach too much into that open green space. We kind of wanted to stay tucked back in while still being functional.
And the other thing we talked about
was we didn't want structures like towers and things that would detract from the overall view of the depot, trying to keep that sort of the integrity of the space intact. You've got the beautiful statue of the miner, the 3 watchmen, and you just want to keep a sense of what the park really is. So we stayed away from colorful things that would detract and big structures.
And there's not necessarily play elements for all ages. I mean, I don't see much for babies, really, or toddlers. Other than just climbing, this style.
Obviously, the larger structures here, intended for the older children, these types of structures here, the little hopping logs and the stones, those are for the younger ages. So we have a variety from
a wide variety.
And obviously, parents are going to be there with the younger children, so they're not going to let them climb on the larger structures versus, they're okay with that, actually. Again, with the fall zones and meeting safety requirements, that's why they have strict standards they do for play equipment and safety zones.
I understand, it's just a new type of playground, which is kind of cool. It just doesn't seem like you get a ton for what to me seems like an awful lot of money, but maybe it's just in the nature of the design or the manufacture of this. So we clearly got a lot of different quotes.
And like I said, again, with the original bids that were submitted, as staff, we had concerns with that too, and that's why we asked for the addendum, and we got some additional options that, again, this is option 6, this is part of that post-bid addendum that they were able to give us a little more if we asked.
Okay.
So yeah, we took that into consideration. It wasn't a concern of ours, and that's why I put this extra step.
Do you think that a final decision could be made at the next meeting and maybe allow the commissioners to see the other proposals just to get a sense of kind of how it was going?
Well, we have to get DNR approval first to come to you to get this approved. So we've already submitted this to the DNR based on Parks and Rec's recommendation. They've approved that to come to you to award you bid. if you want to look at something different, we have to come back, give us some direction, and we have to go back to the DNR, their memo, and then we have to come back again. And part of what the DNR looks at too is play value. So they're looking at, that's one of their questions is, is this the best play value when they review it as well? We can do that. What that also does is it prolongs the award of the bid, it prolongs the time in which the company has to produce the materials and equipment. We have set due dates within the specifications, so those are things that would have to be modified. The goal also was to have this installed and the area restored prior to Festival Ironwood, so that there weren't any disturbances in July. So the project will be completed by the end of June with adequate time to make sure that it's not disturbing Festival Ironwood.
Maybe Michael, just to add, and you did have 4 bidders, and I think each of them submitted multiple options. So you had, I think, over 20 options that were reviewed by Park and Rec. And I think for this type of, it is different for us looking at this in the normal play structures, but I think it is representative of what you would see for the value. And again, I think you had 20 different scenarios that they were looking through, and this is probably one of the more robust ones, I guess.
It was stunning how little there were in some of them for that amount of money. So that's all I can tell you at this point.
And I would just ask that you keep an open mind as the installation goes on, because I would love to see our depot park stay the beautiful park that it is. And in terms of the bleeding out of the wood chips, it looks really nice when it's delineated so well. And I understand from a maintenance perspective the ease of maintenance when you don't have a barrier. I just would hate that area to get sloppy looking, because it is the center of our town.
That's something to do that over time. If things aren't working out, then again, easy enough job for our DPW crews to go in and put that edge on the ground.
Right.
2 sides of it will be defined by the path on the north side. So along the path will be along here, so that'll help delineate an edge. And then on the west side will be the concrete path of the building. So not formal edges or boundaries are installed with the playground, but more natural based on the site configuration. But again, if there are problems in the future, that's something to look at. It's a similar technique that we used at Longyear Park last year, again based on recommendations and preferences by the Parks and Rec teams.
And similarly, at Norrie Park, there is
correct.
There is a boundary road, Norrie Park, and it seems like it's been a nice playground for these past 4 years.
Yep, coming up on 4 years from this one.
And I know it may not never happen, but remember in the original design of the pavilion where that concrete apron perhaps was extended for potential tarping or something? What awnings, is that being considered in the placement of this? If down the road that ever becomes a reality?
It would be. Actually, the concrete aprons were installed, so that was,
okay.
I took that into account. So in the future, if that external awning ever were to become a reality, that space is available.
And the placement of the park would be?
This would allow for that.
Okay.
And if you go look at the space, there really isn't a whole ton of room there. It's pretty restricted.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Mildren, second by Commissioner Tower, to award the Depot Park Playground Equipment bid to Miracle Midwest in the amount of $37,000. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mildren?
Yes.
Semo?
Yes.
Tower?
Yes.
Burchell?
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Item K, discuss and consider no smoking policy in city parks.
All right, thank you. So we had a lot of comments and questions tonight on the local discussion, so back on refreshing memory on what we've done so far. Back in January, we talked to Parks and Rec, they brought this up as a discussion point for parks and wanted to see the city commission consider some kind of a smoking ban policy in city parks. They took a vote on it. They looked at not a ban across the entire city, but an exemption of Curry Park, the campground area. That was kind of what their recommendation was. It was a 3-3 vote on that issue. After we talked with the Parks and Rec, we then came to the City Commission for a workshop and had this discussion, talked about some of the issues that the city has seen, mainly from a health and sanitation aspect. Most notably at Depot Park, lots of cigarette butts on the ground. Parks maintenance spends a lot of time cleaning up those cigarette butts. They collected bags and bags worth of cigarette butts just over the course of last summer. So from a health and safety and sanitation standpoint, the litter there, we try to reduce the time that our park staff has to be out there picking up cigarette butts and so forth. The other issues we talked about were the health issues of secondhand smoke, children, the perception of smoking with children, things of that nature. So those are the things that we talked about at the workshop, as well as with Parks and Rec. At your last meeting, February 22nd, we had discussion, formal discussion, and you guys made a decision that yes, we want to move forward with coming up with some kind of ordinance for banning smoking in parks. Again, talking about all those different regions and gave the history behind that, what was talked about. So tonight, what we've done, and we're going to be looking for you to do is a discussion on this. Now that you've indicated yes, you want to move forward with developing some regulation regarding it, now we want to find out from you which parks do you want this to apply to. At the last meeting, you talked about different options. You talked about banning it in parks where there's playgrounds, banning it in all city parks, banning it in no city parks, banning it in other parks that relate to specific criteria. Some of the ideas that were thrown out were Curry Park, campgrounds. Another park that was an exemption that was thrown out was Granite Field with the adult softball, baseball leagues there. So there's different options that are up for your consideration. What parks should you be interested in looking at banning, and what parks you may be possibly looking at exempting, the regulations from. Provide a list of parks that, for your reference, to kind of show you what's out there. Also noting which ones have playgrounds. Again, Depot Park will have a playground later this year. Hiawatha Skate Park doesn't have a playground, but it's intended for children. It's a skate park. Again, Curry Park is a campground. The thought behind that was a little different kind of a park than just your typical park that your local residents will go to. Again, Granite Field was a consideration that was thrown out there as we accept that adult uses of the park. So those are some different options for you to consider. Again, what we're looking for you tonight is actually a motion to move forward with developing ordinance language and specifically identifying what parks you want us to focus on, the ban for, and what ones you may want excluded, so that then staff can start working with the city attorney to develop the ordinance language. We have talked with our city attorney. Can we do a city ban on smoking in parks? The answer is yes. Can we have exemptions? Can we ban some parks and not the others? The answer is yes. I believe I hit all the comments or concerns that were brought up earlier. Other than from the process from this point moving forward, once you guys make a decision on what parks you'd like to see part of the ban and what ones are exempted, we then will craft an ordinance. We'll bring that back at a public hearing for public comments, and then there'll be a second meeting minimum that will then allow you to adopt the ordinance based on the public comments and the public hearing. So with that, I would answer any questions you might have. But again, as a reminder, we're looking for a motion this evening to be able to move forward with what parks to focus on, so we can work with the city attorney on drafting that language.
Absolutely. As a longtime Ironwood resident and a person who's worked hard to raise money for a lot of these parks with playground equipment, I definitely want to see a smoking ban. And, you know, that's a decision that I'm making. I think it's important. I think that when I was growing up in Ironwood High School, they smoked, the teachers smoked, there was a smoking lounge. In the churches, there was smoking lounges. The restaurants and bars had smoking allowed. Now, all of that's changed, and it's changed for the better. Because I don't think anyone would argue that not having smoking in a restaurant or a bar or a school or a church has been good for us. So in what I've seen, I definitely think, and I've spent a lot of time in these parks. At Norrie Park, for instance, as Kiwanians, we went there and painted it. And so we spent a week sitting there painting it and watched how many children were coming there and how many children were playing in the playground. And then we saw how many people were eating in the pavilion. And then we saw at times where people would come there and it'd be sitting around and it would be smoking in the pavilion and it would drive other people out. The same thing when you talk about our depot park. I think that the amount of people, especially that come there for Ironwood Festival, I think that when people are congregated in that small area, I don't know how many are congregated in that small area, but sometimes it feels like 500 or 700 or 800 people, think that a decision has to be made there. There just can't be smoking there because there are people there trying to enjoy the environment, and there are people there that are, their lit cigarettes are in their hand, they're blowing smoke. So in my opinion, this is just my opinion, but Norrie Park, Patterson Park, Longyear Park, the Little League Park, Queetanon Park, Depot Park, and the Hiawatha Skate Park. And I can read those again. But those are all where money has been invested by this community, and where really smoking doesn't, you know, I think that sure there are going to be some instances where there isn't an instance. In those parks, with the money that's been raised and the reason for having those parks, I just think that, I'll read that list again. Norrie Park, Patterson Park, Longyear Park, the Little League Park, Queetanon Park, Depot Park, and the Hiawatha Skate Park. And, you know, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 longtime Ironwood residents here, and they all raised valid points, and I love that they're here. But I think it's good for the people of Ironwood, good for everyone's health, and if having no smoking signs in some of those parks stops some of our longtime residents from smoking, it's better for us and it's better for their health. That's my opinion.
Could I ask a question? You listed a number of parks, many of them had playgrounds.
Yes.
I don't believe you listed Hiawatha Park, playground at Hiawatha. Is that one that you'd like to see, or maybe in your opinion?
Yeah, Hiawatha.
Yeah, Hiawatha Park.
You mentioned skate park.
Yes. Okay. Yes, Hiawatha Park. I was thinking that was part of the field area, but that's a separate park on its own.
Right, it's across the field from the field.
Yes, Hiawatha Park. Yes.
And in that vein, I would add the Lake Air Street Park, because that's a children's playground.
Well, we're probably going to have 4 different opinions here. I like option 2, all parks except Curry Park, and the only reason I would allow Curry Park is because your campsite is essentially your home, and we can allow people to smoke in their homes. We should. Other than that, keep it simple. We don't allow smoking in parks. Many cities do it. Ann Arbor does it. Traverse City does it. Traverse City was just voted the best Midwest city by some whatever. And that didn't happen by accident. They're a progressive town, and we can be a progressive town. And so I do support that. But beyond that, do we need to have a penalty built into this ordinance? If we go,
That'll be something that working with public safety and the attorney on what that is.
We can come back with some options with the ordinance.
Sure. as was brought up in public comment today, and I've seen somewhere else also, if the person is asked to not smoke and they put their cigarette out, then we're fine. If they don't put it out, then there could be a penalty. Seemed like a well thought out way to do that. But I just think, when they put no smoking in all of the public buildings and restaurants and bars, people stopped smoking. It wasn't because of police enforcement, it wasn't because of possibility of fines. People stopped smoking there because people are generally law-abiding. And if they're not law-abiding and they're, then there should be that question asked of them, and then they should be fined if they don't put the cigarette out.
Enforcement of this is going to be so difficult. Trying to ban smoking in open air areas is not advisable, in my opinion. You're going to have public safety running around trying to put those people's cigarettes in parks, and it's going to be ridiculous. It's not going to work. It's just not. I know it's not going to work. Anytime government tries to legislate people's personal habits when it comes to alcohol or anything, the prohibition, that didn't work. They said drinking was bad for you. It failed miserably. This is just another example of that. I think government is intruding too much into people's private lives, and this is a perfect example of that. The indoor smoking, people generally agreed with because it's bad. You can't get away from the secondhand smoke. So we shipped them outside, where they can go outside and they're away from people generally, and they can blow it in the air, so be it. People are going to smoke. It's a legal habit that I don't agree with, but it's legal. They can do it. I think trying to ban smoking in all of these parks is just going to be an enforcement nightmare, and it's not going to work. And that's just kind of where I'm at. Is it a good idea not to smoke? Absolutely. Yes, you shouldn't smoke. It's terrible for you. I don't do it. But to try and force people to do this is not good. I can see, like Keith Johnson said, a buffer around the play equipment. I can see that, some kind of buffer around play equipment for children. That makes sense to me. This whole thing came about because we have a problem with littering in Depot Park, mostly, and the other parks around town. For some reason, smokers, a lot of them think it's okay to flick their butts outside onto the ground when it's not. It's littering. And we already have laws on the books for that. Try to enforce those better rather than create a whole can of worms with this new smoking policy, I think would be a better idea. Start writing some tickets for people flicking their butts on the ground. Maybe they'll stop doing that. That also is difficult to catch. It's hard to catch them doing that too. But if we can try and just enforce what we have on the books already, that's better than trying to create this whole can of worms here, which is what it's going to be.
I don't buy the enforceability argument. I mean, we have a speed limit. You can't enforce it religiously. We have a ban on drinking in public places. You can't enforce it. Just because you can't go out and catch every person that's violating doesn't mean you have rules. You have rules that all the time that are a guideline to behavior. It's not that you're trying to bust every single person. So I don't kind of feel that that's really a significant factor.
I just can't see people calling 911 saying Johnny Smith is smoking cigarettes at the park. It's like it feels like they're back in high school. But they're going to.
Right.
But they're going to.
Okay. I'm assuming it's illegal right now to open a six-pack in Longyear Park, but I don't know that. If someone saw someone doing it, probably nothing would happen, but it sets a level of community standards for behavior.
Any other questions?
So
we're looking for a formal motion. I guess if you could, depending on how you want to do your motion, if you're going to select certain parts that you want to abandon in, and that's the way you're going to make your motion. If you could just go down the list slowly, and I can just make sure we get it for my purposes in the minutes, make sure we reflect whatever the motion is, since there's a lot of different options here.
Well, I'll make a motion, we select option 2, just to get something to vote on, which is banning smoking in all city parks except for Curry Park. And if that doesn't get a second, then so be it, but that's my motion. No seconds.
I'll make a motion.
So, no, yeah, that motion fails.
Support.
Lack of support. Thank you, Rick.
I'll make a motion that we ban smoking in Norrie Park, Patterson Park.
Ban smoking. Ban smoking.
Yes. Norrie Park, Patterson Park, Longyear Park, the Little League Park, Wheaton Park, Depot Park, and the Hiawatha.
Hiawatha, there's two different Hiawatha parks.
The skate park.
How about the other the playground then by Hiawatha?
And that, okay. So,
There's two different areas there that both have
yes.
kid stuff.
Yes. And the Hiawatha Playground Park
And the Lake Air Street Park.
and the Lake Air Street Park.
So you're saying Patterson, Longyear, Queetonin, Little League? Did you say Little League?
Yes.
Hiawatha, Norrie, Lake and Air. How about the Pocket Park?
No.
How about the Art Park?
Yes.
Depot Park? Yes.
Yes.
Skate Park?
Yes.
So basically all parks except Curry, Randa, Mount Zion, Miners, and the Pocket Park.
Yes.
That's what I have on my list.
Yes. That would be my motion.
I'll second that.
Where am I here? So it's my turn.
So the exempt ones are Curry, Randa, Miners, and what was the fourth one?
Mount Zion.
Mount Zion.
And
Miners.
Pocket Park.
Miners.
Discussion? I'm just pondering whether or not to include the Pocket Park in that, because that's a really visible park in the heart of our downtown. It's a small park. And, I mean, if part of our goal is to spread a statement to our young people, to kind of denormalize smoking and to encourage them not to smoke and making outdoor spaces safer, I would just wonder if that would be one to, and it's a small area with a small seating area, just something to ponder.
Well, I would personally like to see the Pocket Park in there, but we do have a motion, so
Right.
that's not allowed, but it's going to discourage some people from being there if someone lights up next to them. There's litter in a beautiful little park.
Right.
But
Any other further discussion? Or
Can I amend my motion to
You can.
include the
Pocket Park,
Pocket Park?
if you can, and I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Mildren, seconded by Commissioner Semo, and then amended motion to instruct the staff to construct a no smoking policy, to exclude smoking from Patterson Tennis Courts, Longyear Park, Queetonin Park, Little League Field, Hiawatha Park, Norrie Park, the Lake Air Street Park, the downtown Ironwood Pocket Park, the downtown Art Park, Depot Park, and the Iowa Rotary Skate Park. Any further discussion? Do you want a roll call or a regular vote on this one? Roll call?
Semo.
Yes.
Tower.
No.
Mildred.
Yes.
Birchall.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to new business, item L, consider approval of rural development pay package in the amount of $7,197.40 for the City of Ironwood Phase 3 Utility Project water portion.
Thank you. This is our pay process for Phase 3. This is for Ritzela Construction. You have one for water and again one for sewer. And again, the project is within budget. There is a sheet here that was handed out. Hopefully it'll be a little more clear on where we're at with the project in its entirety. And as you'll see with this project, after these payments with Ritzela, there's still about $124,000 worth of work yet to be completed this spring. And retainage is in the area of my glasses are about $35,000. So to give you a flavor for where we're at the project. Mike, could you add anything else to the project? Maybe what the next steps are? Project what?
The remaining items to be completed are the second lift of paving in the Nori area and a little bit of restoration associated with that. And that completion date is the 15th of June.
I'll make a motion, we approve the pay package described in item L.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Tower to approve the pay package as described in item L. Further discussion? Roll call, please.
Tower.
Yes.
Mildred.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Birchall.
Yes. Motion carries. Item M, second part of that, considering the approval of the sewer portion of that pay package.
I'll make a motion, we approve the pay package described in item M.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Semo, seconded by Commissioner Tower to approve the pay package as described in item M. Roll call vote, discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mildred.
Yes.
Semo.
Yes.
Tower.
Yes.
Birchall.
Yes. Motion carries. Item N, discuss and consider authorizing advertisement for bids for the sale of scrap water meters.
Thank you. About once a year or so, we generate a pile of scrap water meters when they replace an old brass water meter with one of our new plastic electronic read meters. The brass is a product that has some value, so with the Commission's approval, we'd go out and get bids for that scrap and then bring those back to the Commission for the sale of those scrap water meters.
I'll make a motion to approve the sale of the scrap water meters as described in item N.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Tower, seconded by Commissioner Semo to authorize advertisement for bids for the sale of, as described in item N. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item Q, Manager's Report.
Just a few items to update the Commission on. With the weather turning much better here recently, we're starting to plan for some of the cleanup, spring cleanup that occurs in the city. And one of the events that we have is the drop-off day or our spring cleanup day, where people can bring unused stuff from their house or yards over to the Air Street, empty lot on Air Street. We've been doing that for a number of years. And we do have a date set. It's going to be Saturday, May 7th. It's from 8 to 11 o'clock on Air Street, right next to the Ironwood Dance Company. And again, that's been a very successful program to allow our residents to get rid of some things that are sometimes tough to get rid of. So we'll get word out and encourage people to take advantage of that opportunity. There will be a meeting here in the building this coming Thursday, again, weather-related, with the better weather coming around. There's a group of volunteers, they call themselves the Friends of the Trail, basically our regional trail, and it's people made up of residents or people from Ironwood, Bessemer, Wakefield, Hurley, that basically want to come up and help maintain the regional trail. So they're going to meet this Thursday, March 17th at 6 p.m. here in the building, and just come up with things they're going to do proactively to keep the trail in good shape. Things like picking up litter on the trail and maybe mowing grass, things like that. They're going to help keep the trail up to a high level. So it's nice to see that community involvement in a project like that. So again, that'll be this Thursday. the 17th here in the building at 6 p.m. And the public is invited to attend and participate in that. I'm glad to report that our project where we rehabbed one of our municipal wells went very well. That has been completed, and Kleiman Pump and Well was the contractor. They rehabbed the well, basically reworked the gravel formation that it's in, and put in a new well pump. So we should be in really good shape with that well, and I believe after they're done, we're looking at pumping at a higher capacity than it did in the past, roughly additional 40 gallons a minute, which is very good. And again, just a proactive way to keep our well field in good shape. Again, with the concept of nice weather, the blighted properties, the City Commission had previously approved 2 different contracts. One was Snow Country Contracting for taking down a number of blighted properties. I think they have 6 properties they're going to be taken down. And then Angelo Rapino was awarded a contract for an additional 5 properties. Snow Country has indicated probably in the next couple weeks they'll get in and start removing some of those building structures. And Angelo Rapino has their subcontractor in doing some environmental work, taking that out so that they can then come in and take those remaining 5 structures down, which will be a total of 27 buildings that will be taken down under the hardest hit blight grant. So we'll get a nice effort to try to eliminate some of those blighted properties from some of the neighborhoods. I did provide a list of projects on the last page of the report, just things that we're working on that'll be coming to the commission here very soon, and we've talked about a number of these, but I'll just go through the list quickly here. We have our local street paving project that's going to come to you here shortly. We're still evaluating some options. Hopefully we'll get better pricing with the lower fuel costs, and we can do a few more streets. So that'll be coming to you here shortly. Street crack sealing project that will move forward. Miscellaneous concrete project that we go out for bids if we've taken out some curb and gutter or sidewalk over the winter time with water main breaks. We always repair those. We'll have a pavement striping project, go out and restripe some of the streets that need to be restriped this year. We're going to be doing some work on the memorial building this summer. You can see if you look through that window, you see a lot of that brick that's spalled off. We're coming up with a project to help with that issue that's been out there. And that'll come forward here shortly. The contractor that's doing Curry Park will be doing the electric upgrades. That's Lindquist Electric. The City Commission awarded that project. They're waiting for the frost to get out of the ground, and they'll be starting on that project. We are also working on a mine shaft safety fencing project, and there's some money that has been set aside here for a year or 2, and basically putting some fencing around some of the worst mine shafts that we're aware of and moving that forward, and a few other projects that you'll see on the list there. So again, a pretty good full plate of activity for the summer, and I'm sure we'll be adding to this as the summer progresses.
You mentioned the spring cleanup day on Saturday. Is that May 11th, did you say?
May 7th.
May 7th.
Did I?
And there's another one. Is there a Make a Difference Day? No?
There is a Make a Difference Day. We don't have that scheduled yet.
Okay.
And again, we'll work with the chamber on that.
Okay.
Again, that we have to try to revive that somehow. In the last couple, we've had just a handful of very energetic people helping. But I'll talk to the chamber director on that if there's a way to try to revive that effort.
Okay.
It's a window that, for many years, we'd have 50 people out helping. In the last few seasons, we've had maybe half a dozen. So any thoughts on that are welcome.
Okay, great. Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Item R, other matters?
I'd just like to get an update on Paul's concerns at the next meeting, look into what he mentioned.
I will, and I'll talk to Paul, because I know we've talked about a number of these things before, and some are not resolvable with him, but if there's other issues that he's aware of, we definitely want to hear what they are, see if there's something that needs to get done. I think there's a couple of key things there that I've talked to Paul a number of times on, a few things that just, there's a difference of opinion, and Paul will probably never change his perspective on those, but I will talk to him to see if there's something new that I'm not aware of, or
specifically the flooding on Celia Street, if there's drainage problem.
Yeah, that we can look. I haven't heard about that yet, so we'll take a look at that and see what's going on with that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And any other matters?
Oh, just excited about that depot playground equipment. You know that for years and years, it was the theater in the Memorial Building that gave this town sort of a community feel to it. why we're here, what we're all about. And the Depot Park, as we progress, we put more things there. The trail to Bessemer gets finished this coming year. It's all exciting to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Yep. Good night.
I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to